I'm Hartwig Fischer, Director of the British Museum, and I'm delighted to welcome you to tonight's Era of Reclamation talk. I invited Bonnie Greer to curate a project, and together we identified reclamation as a prevalent theme of our era. This is also an opportunity to listen and to learn as we move towards the great transformation of the British Museum.
Black people, African people have been in Britain for hundreds of years. That's what that title says. We were here. So that title was very, very important to me. I'm making you visible.
So Emily, who do you want to start with us?
Billy Waters, he was actually a seaman in the Napoleonic War. He was a seaman. Billy was invalided out of the Royal Navy, but the fascinating thing for me about Billy is that he reinvented himself. He was given a very small pension, which wasn't enough, so he went out on the street, and Billy was a street entertainer. Billy became a celebrity, a street entertainer celebrity. So local people and people around London got to know about Billy Waters. And he played his violin, he had his, all sorts of antics, and he was a brilliant dancer. And being able to do all of that as an amputee and as a black person in Britain, I thought that was really fascinating. I thought that was absolutely amazing.
What is so powerful when we first saw you is, and you're conveying, is that this exhibition, at least for me, is making people visible, making people who we would never have known about, and some of the resources are here in this museum to do that, and you've used them, is to make people visible. Can you tell us about a woman, and that's Dido Elizabeth Bell?
Dido. So, as a young person, with a group of friends, every Sunday, I was probably about 14, 15, we used to go over to Hampstead Heath, and we'd make our way to Kenwood House, but never would I have imagined that there was a black woman, mixed-race woman, that lived in Kenwood House, that grew up in Kenwood House, not as a slave, not as a servant, but as an equal middle-class woman. I was blown away when I learned about Dido Bell.
If somebody takes the time to paint somebody, and someone's painted, she's in this painting, this is significant. I mean, it's not just a gesture. It's not like a photograph. I mean, this is a painting. And this is immortal in many ways. So in a sense, we know she meant something. Can we talk about the African-American woman that you have, who lived around here, actually, around the museum? That was Sarah Parker.
Oh, Sarah Parker Remond.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, she was born in Massachusetts. Does that make sense?
She was, and she was an anti-slavery activist from a very, very young age as well. I mean, I think she was a young teenager when she was touring around America and, giving talks and speeches about anti-slavery and abolishing slavery. She travelled up and down the country, up and down Britain, and talking about the brutalities and, the horrors of slavery and living and working on plantations. I think one of the things that Sarah Remond managed to do in her lectures to get the British people on her side to understand what she was talking about. She was able to equate slavery with the oppression of slavery with the oppression of the working class British people. And that's why her lectures were so successful. That's why she was able to get the British people, predominantly working class people, to attend her lectures, to be, yeah, right, we're with you, Sarah. When I started my research, I didn't find much information on these people, on these biographies from the Local Studies and Archives Centre. That was upsetting for me, it was upsetting for Camden. But Camden are open to, they know that there is a little bit of a problem.
But you bring it together in this exhibition.
Yeah.
And you have a group of people, and I would like, if you want to talk about one more, who was the first head teacher?
The first, Camden's first black head teacher
The great. Yeah.
Can we bring her up?
was Beryl Gilroy.
Beryl
Yeah.
Gilroy.
Do you know what? If I had a teacher like Beryl Gilroy when I was a kid, I would have been so much more secure, and I probably would have loved going to school for the sake of learning rather than going to school for the sake of being mischievous, really, because what was being taught to me I wasn't really that interested in, didn't kind of resonate with me as such. Beryl Gilroy, the first, Camden's first black head teacher. She would have been Britain's first head teacher, but she was beaten to the post by a lady called Yvonne Connolly. And before she came to London, she was already a qualified, Beryl was already a qualified teacher. She had done a hell of a lot. She had also worked on the UNICEF food relief programme. She had lectured for that. And the plan was, to come to London to, I think she was going to study child psychology, psychology. Yeah, I think that, so that was the plan for Beryl. And, you know, she had her plan. She wanted to be a teacher. When she got here, she was quite disappointed because she didn't expect to face the discrimination, the prejudice and the racism that she did. You know, Beryl, to me, is, Beryl Gilroy, for me, is the sort of person that helps me at times when I get really sad, when I'm doing research on Black history, and I think of people like Beryl Gilroy. The resilience is what gives me a kick up the backside and says, get on with it, Emily. Just get on with it. Because with everything that Beryl Gilroy went through, but to still achieve her goal and so much more is just mind-blowing for me. It is so inspirational.
And you talked about learning what we learn in school or what we don't learn in school, so I was eager to not leave her out tonight because she was such an important teacher.
Very.
So, you know, one would wish that an exhibition like the one you did, with the research that went into it, will have an impact on the curriculum, that, you know, teachers will understand this is extremely fascinating and will be crucial for young people to learn about their history in this place where they live.
Well, I don't know why it isn't on the curriculum. I really can't. I can't understand it. I can't make sense of it, to be totally honest.
Well, it will change, I suppose.
I hope it will change, but can I ask you a question, Hartwig?
Absolutely.
I mean, what do you think there needs to be changes made here in the museum?
Oh, yes,
in terms of accommodating the history of minority groups? What do you think? What's your view on that?
That's a very good question.
I know.
You agree? I think, you know, the I try to give you a short answer, but it will not be short. This museum spans 2 million years of human history.
Yeah.
And it tries to give its visitors not only an understanding of individual cultures and the way people lived in various places in various times, but it also tries to look at what connected people. Mm. And it tries to connect those who come to the museum with those who've lived in the past, here or elsewhere. So there is, if you like, always that aspect of minority. Mm. You relate to others, you relate to other communities. When it comes to Great Britain, even though it's called the British Museum, but it's not the Museum of the History of Great Britain, as you all know. It's the Museum of the History of the World, of humankind, of 2 million years. I think it's fair to say that the museum, and this is how the connection was established between you and the museum, colleagues of the museum, does a lot of community work across the city, not only Camden, but beyond Camden. And a lot of, if you like, community work around the world too. And the way the museum would present minorities is to highlight the history, the wider history of minorities. But, when I saw your exhibition, Bonnie and I felt the same thing. We want to have you here. We were very eager to have this conversation with you in our series because we felt that there was something absolutely crucial in bringing out these individuals, their lives, their struggles, their challenges, their transcendence. That's a word that is dear to Bonnie, which is to say, go beyond, reach beyond, manage to transcend the limits that others pose on you. And I think we all want to engage more in that direction, and use the museum to do that. But again, if you like, with the remit of the British Museum, you will always find that when we do this, we always widen the perspective and widen the scope and give you a bigger, deeper history to place ourselves in and reflect how the connection between human beings, in all their complexity and hardship and brutality, as you say, and cruelty, in the end has brought us to where we are.
I think you have, and you do have something to give, you have something to share, and this institution becomes stronger, it becomes better, it becomes more open, and you're helping us to evolve. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.